But
Okay.
this
Oh,
is
wow. You have
so
a lot.
this right here, yeah, this right here is Lakers just by itself.
How much money you got? A lot. How many problems you got? A lot. How many people done doubted you? A lot. Left you out to rot? A lot.
Hey guys, it's your girl Victoria, Lady V, Victron V12. You're here at V Sports. We're here with another edition of Jersey Talk. Today we have a very special guest, Canes fam. We have Ryan Nelson.
What
Hey,
up? What up?
how you doing today?
I'm doing well. I'm blessed. I'm so happy to be a part of this.
Awesome, for sure.
Yeah,
Well, thank you so much. And I know part of your journey is you actually started here in LA, but then moved to Miami. We went to
yeah.
you're there now. What has that been like for you as a sports fan?
It's been tough because I love the Lakers and I love the Dodgers. So whenever they're in town, I'm making sure I got my purple and gold on or my blue and white. But it's been cool because I've grown a love for the Miami Dolphins, even though, in the past, before I was even born, they haven't really won even an AFC championship, I think. So, but it's cool to see the different types of sports culture that there is in South Florida versus Los Angeles, for sure.
Yeah, and I
Mhm.
think too both are entertainment cities also where
Yeah.
sports might take a back seat, but then you have a sports culture that is very diehard. And what
Yeah.
did you observe?
I was blessed enough to go to at least one game at the Orange Bowl. It was actually the Hurricanes' last home game. They
Mhm.
did get blown out by Virginia, but I got to experience the Orange Bowl feel. A lot of the older guys will be like, "Man, Hard Rock Stadium isn't like the Orange Bowl," but and I'm like, "You're right. I was there. I was at that last game. It was just electric. There's just certain sporting environments that are different, and that Orange Bowl one was very different from Hard Rock, even though I love Hard Rock Stadium. Seeing that, and then there's nothing like being at Dodger Stadium. It's a classic. Like I feel like especially if you love history or just love sports in general, the history of the building is just amazing. Every time I'm in LA, I try to go to a Dodger game, or I try to do at least like the tour so you can see like the dugout and everything. I get to geek out a little bit.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
I'm so jealous you saw a game at the Orange Bowl. I never got to
yeah,
do that, and I feel like a part of my Kane soul is like forever won't ever be filled. But for you as a journalist, covering sports and entertainment and so
hmm
many different aspects, there's so much crossover. I think. How have you been
yeah.
able to blend your passions and do what you love?
I always ask people to warm them up about like, hey, who's your favorite team? Who's your favorite player? Did you see the game last night? When I'm talking to entertainment guys, and they'll be like, oh yeah, LeBron did this, Anthony Davis did this. And I feel like athletes tend to want to do more interviews and want more press, at least the non-established superstar ones. So like the guys that are on the come up, they would love to, hey, let's talk for 10 minutes or whatever it may be. And I really don't see, how do I say this, like the rappers that are more established, I guess you can say, because I mean they don't really need press, but it's just really cool to see how they gravitate towards those things.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely. I know one
yeah,
of your recent interviews, you got to interview the inspiration behind All American, the real
yeah,
Spencer.
yeah.
What was that like? What did you learn from him?
Man, Spencer Singer is a really great guy. For myself, doing a lot of freelance things, like that was a freelance opportunity. Uh, I reached out to him. Sometimes when you reach out to people and you freelance, you never hear back. But he was somebody who responded back. I went out to LA. I think we did that last August actually, and I got an Airbnb, and he came, no security or anything like that. It was super cool. And he's like, whatever you need me to talk about, I'm here to talk about. So we not only talked about the show, but we also got to talk about his football career because he really did make it to the NFL, and he's got a Super Bowl ring, and he played with Eli Manning. He also played for the Dolphins too, which is a great tie to South Florida when you want to tell that story. But it was really cool because I'm actually a fan of the show. Like even before I knew who he was, or I knew what the show was, I knew who he was because of the Dolphins. So I was just like, man, this would be so cool to be able to connect with him. And man, it was just a blessing because, like I said, he didn't have to do that, but he did, and he was like, I see somebody who's young, who's working hard, and there's of course I would want to support that. So I can give you my time, and that's what he did. So it was really cool.
That's amazing. That's
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
Well, we can go ahead and start with your jerseys. Go ahead and show us what you got.
Okay. So I'm gonna start off with hockey. This is the Anaheim Mighty Ducks jersey. This is back in the day when the home teams wore white and the away teams wore their uniform colors. I love this uniform because of Disney, and I think they did such a great job of making hockey more blended than what it is. So if you've ever watched the Mighty Ducks movies, which were some of my favorites growing up, you saw kids of all ethnicities playing sports. And I'm like, that's cool. So in my head as an impressionable child, I'm thinking there's a huge mix of Hispanic, Asian, and Black kids that are playing too, especially D2, which was the second one. They're playing roller hockey in South Central. So I'm like, oh, this is for everybody. So I actually grew up loving hockey, and it was because of the movie. So I mean, I'm not as familiar as I was back in the day with the rosters, but I could have told you the whole Florida Panthers, Anaheim Mighty Ducks, LA Kings, whoever may be, their entire roster. And I remember as a child, I always wanted this jersey. It's blank. In the first movie, they were called the District 5 Mighty Ducks. So I got that one. And that one has Charlie Conway on the back, but this one is blank. So I say it's for the Anaheim Mighty Ducks, and it's for the Disney movie Mighty Ducks.
That was such a 90s icon in general.
Yeah. My second one, this is a classic. I am not a Yankees fan, but these classic pinstripes are amazing. And this is before I became like an enthusiast of uniforms or jerseys. But this was my parents got me this, I think when I was in the 4th grade. It's Derek Jeter. And it has the 2003 World Series patch on it from when they lost to the Marlins. And like I said, not a Yankees fan at all, but this is like a classic uniform. And I pray the Dodgers, the Yankees, never change up this look, because man, it's just a classic. Not a Yankees fan. I love Derek Jeter, but this is definitely one of my favorites. That's why I don't wear it much. And if I could frame it, I definitely would. My next one is my favorite athlete of all time, and it is a Dodger, and it's Jackie Robinson, 42. Whenever I see the number 42 in any sport, I think of him and I think of his impact. I think of the movie, which is great, which I learned a lot about. He was a man of faith, and so was Branch Rickey, the owner at the time of the Dodgers. And I wanted this one so bad because I remember there was one point, and I got this as an adult. My dad's like, you got Cody Bellinger and you got all these other guys on the team. You don't have Jackie Robinson? And I was like, you have a point. So I made it a point to go and get this one. And Jackie's my favorite athlete of all time, not only because he, like I said, he was saved. He was a civil rights activist. He served in the military. He played football. He ran track. I love everything that this man embodies. So I definitely had to get this. And I only wear it probably on Jackie Robinson Day, just because I don't want to ruin it. I don't want to spill anything on it. Definitely one of my favorites.
And that's so cool. He's like your favorite athlete.
Yeah.
I mean, like you said, not only a great player, but just a great person, and like I mean, even just a trailblazer. And maybe what has it been like seeing? I know the Negro Leagues are getting more recognition now, and
Yeah.
that's kind of a continuation of his legacy. I know it's like just a weird timing sometimes, and but maybe what's your perspective on how things are progressing?
As a lot of people would say, it's about time, because these men who are in the Negro Leagues, they put in just as much work as a lot of these MLB guys. So just to see their hard work respected and honored, it feels good. And like you said, it all roots back to what he went through and what he suffered. Like for me, the movie 42 brought his legacy to the front of my face, because you go to school and you hear about these people, Jackie Robinson. Oh yeah, he was the first to play. But you never really saw the sufferings, like in the movie where the people telling you, like, you better leave town or we're going to blow up your house, where guys would throw at him, throw pitches at him. And then, of course, the iconic scene where his teammate puts his arm around him while the guy's family is there and they're booing him and stuff like that. Those things, that's tough. That really takes a lot of faith to say, you know what? these odds are not in my favor, but if I believe God has placed me here, this is what I'm going to do. And for me, there's not many men I can say are role models for me, but he's definitely one of them because I felt like he was one of the more complete men, where great father, great athlete. You know, he won the World Series and a Rookie of the Year award in the same year. So I look at that and I'm like, who is doing that even today? I love John Morant, but I can't say that about John Morant or somebody else that wins a Rookie of the Year award. So to see that impact, like he set the tone as far as like, this is what greatness looks like on the field and off the field. Of course, got to at least have one Hurricane jersey in there. And this one is Sean Taylor from way back in the day before I was even in college. But I understood what number 26 meant to the university, to a lot of football fans. This is a player that can never be duplicated, if you ask me. There's a lot of hard-hitting safeties, but there's nobody like Sean Taylor. The green and orange of the University of Miami. They've had so many great players, and man, this is one of my favorites. This is another one that I've probably worn this maybe twice, just because I don't want to ruin it. Now, one of my dream schools that I wish, and maybe I'll go get a PhD from, is USC. And I remember a long time ago, my mom bought me a Reggie Bush jersey the year that they won the Orange Bowl down here in Miami. And that's when USC was like Alabama. They just won their national championship. They had Matt Leinart. They had Reggie, of course. And Reggie was one of my favorite players. And that's around the time I started playing football. So if you had number 5 and you were playing football at all, like, man, you knew that kid was great. So in Little League football, I wish I had number 5, but I didn't. And I'll explain why after. But this to me is just like a classic. USC has classic uniforms. If you can't tell like that, I'm a huge fan of the more classic USC, and this number 5, I'm glad he's doing well with the university again, so I can wear this place.
Yeah, I feel like USC is similar to Miami in that like they're both private schools, but people maybe don't know that, and like they do have that swag factor to their athletics. And
Yeah.
but yeah, maybe for you, why is USC, or you grew up in LA too, but what about USC has that same allure and that wow factor?
For me, USC, it was because also at the time when I, like I said, I started playing football, like Little League, through middle school, and then on the high school, USC and Miami were like tit for tat number 1. So I think 2002 they had USC had a pretty good season in 2003, but it was because of Reggie Bush. So he was a player that for my generation, I probably sound like an old man. He was like a creative player. When you play NCAA 07 or whatever it may be, or any of these PS2, PS3 games, like he was always the fastest player on the team. He was always, you could juke anybody. And Reggie Bush had like Lil Wayne talking about him in music. And that's when Wayne was like the GOAT. So if Wayne mentioned you in a song, it was just like, oh yeah, this guy's for real. And he's talking about Reggie Bush and he's in college. So that's probably why I heard Wayne say it. And I was like, yeah. He's the guy.
Reggie Bush, baby. Reggie Bush, baby.
Now, number 23 is in my Instagram name, my Twitter name, and all of that for Ronnie Brown. Ronnie Brown played for the Dolphins when I was in middle school. And when you're a child, you're so impressionable. So he was their first round pick, but he was just an amazing running back. He had number 23. And then my coach gave me number 23. And this is back when you can go to the Dolphins training camp, and if you wanted something signed by one of the players after practice, you like kind of stuck it under a gate and you kind of just hope that the player saw yours. And I just remember he grabbed my jersey and he signed it. And as you can see, there's a little wear and tear because I used to wear this to school, like 6th grade, 7th grade. I was definitely wearing this. And he signed it and I never wore it again. And it meant so much. And it was so cool that just a few months ago, I found him on Instagram. And I followed him. I'm like, all right, he's not going to follow me back. This dude's a NFL guy. And he followed me back. And I had like I don't have these often, but I had a fanboy moment where I was like, man, you were my favorite player growing up. You signed my jersey when I was in middle school and I still have it. And it was such a cool moment because Like he just his time with the Dolphins meant a lot to me as a kid.
23, everybody goes, oh, Jordan year,
Yeah, yeah,
Jordan, but that's cool that Ronnie Brown is your 23. That's really,
yeah, for
yeah.
sure. Now to transition to basketball, my favorite unofficial holiday is the Super Bowl, but next to that, I would say All-Star Weekend is another holiday for the NBA because it's like, if you've ever been, it's like a basketball carnival mixed in with, the rappers and music and media and stuff like that. So there was a point in time when I was just getting All-Star jerseys every single year just to have one. And this one is from 2007 in Las Vegas. This is Dwayne Wade. This is his third All-Star appearance. And this one I really like because I grew up, of course, a Kobe fan, but then moving down to South Florida, you couldn't help but love D Wade. And this is when he was really a rising star. It was unique to see the All-Star game in a city that did not have an NBA franchise. So I was like, how are they going to do the 3-point contest? Like, it changes because of location. But I just remember like having my eyes glued to the TV that All-Star weekend for the Rising Stars game, for the dunk contest, and for the actual game. And begged my mom, hey, can I get this jersey? And she got me the shoes and the jersey. So only child things where you can get a little bit more. There's that. My favorite player, of course, is Kobe, and got to go with the classic Lakers home jersey number 8. I have probably about 5 Kobe jerseys. So I have the Hollywood Knights one, which is the black one. I have number 24 in purple. I have on my wall a number 24 in gold. But everybody loves number 8 and what he did with this number. So it could be the 81-point game, even though it was a white uniform. His 3 rings with Shaq and just putting up monster numbers where he went on like that 50-point tear in between the time of the Shaq era and the Pau Gasol era. But yeah, you got to love number 8, of course. This is a classic. And last, which is a new one, is my Gigi jersey, because I am a Kobe fan. I was like, man, after she passed, I was like, somehow, some way, whoever is selling this online, I got to get it. And I got this number 2 Gigi jersey in remembrance of her. And this is definitely one of my favorites. And I was like, man, for an AAU girls team, they got nice uniforms. Like, this is like the classic black and white. It almost looks like the Brooklyn Nets, but it's got the Mamba around it, around the M. And this is definitely one of my favorites because she was an up-and-coming star. And as a Kobe fan, it's like, how do you not love Gigi if you love Kobe? So
Sitting maybe now, what is their legacy on the sport of basketball?
I think Gigi left a legacy on girls basketball not too long ago. When as a matter of fact, when I was in LA, I got the opportunity to visit LeVar Ball, and he was telling me, I don't know if you saw the report about Kobe leaving Nike and stuff like that. He was saying he wasn't saying that they were going to leave, but he was saying, man, Kobe had really big plans for women's basketball. And honestly, watching him coach his daughters and be so involved with it, it gave me a new respect for the WNBA and for women's athletics in general, because to be honest, there's not enough light shed on it. So yes, we know him as one of the greatest athletes of all time, as Kobe, but I think what he did after retirement really said a lot about who he was as a man, as a father, and then just watching him raise his daughters and watching him kind of just take Gigi everywhere and teach her the game of basketball, but again, be a great father. It was just like, man, that's an impact that I think everybody felt.
L1, there you go, good job.
Would you maybe be able to just like show us your closet, like all your jerseys?
Oh yeah.
Like, I don't know, just to see what it looks like. Do you have like a number how many you have?
It's a lot. Let me unplug this light.
Yeah, for sure. When did you get your first jersey?
My first one? Oh, my first one was, it's on my wall actually. It's a Nick Van Exel Lakers jersey. I don't know how I can flip the camera. Oh, there it goes. That's my first one.
Aw, cute.
But
Okay.
This
Oh,
is
wow. You have
so this right here. Yeah, this right here is Lakers just by itself.
oh, that's Lakers.
Um,
Okay.
yeah. So and then these are basketball. Like this is D'Angelo Russell with the Nets, James Harden, Tracy McGrady. There's Michael Jordan, Melo. I got multiple Melo ones. LeBron on the Cavs, D Wade and Shaq on the Heat. It's
Uh-huh.
another All-Star jersey where Shaq.
Okay.
These right here are just Dolphin ones, and I'll probably never buy a Dolphins jersey again because those guys, they leave, they
Yeah.
leave and they do better. Yeah. So Dolphins. These are some college football. This is LaDainian Tomlinson with TCU.
Oh.
Messi, Zoltan with the LA Galaxy. And this is another Dolphins jersey, West Virginia. This is a running back named Noel Devine. He was really great when he played for West Virginia, but didn't really do much in the league. There's Cody Bellinger, Mike Trout. I'm a Dodgers fan, but I love Mike Trout. Yasiel Puig. Now this is like football with a little bit of basketball mixed in. So Michael Vick. I got a Charlotte. I don't know why I have this Charlotte Bobcats jersey, but it was just like, man, because I just like them. Ocho Cinco. This is Larry Johnson. He was great. Edgerrin James.
Okay, Edge, yep.
Jerry Rice, Brett Favre. These are my Little League jerseys.
Oh.
I have Eddie George, LaDainian Tomlinson again, Powder Blues. So this is when I have two. So this is like before they rebranded, I guess you can say, and got newer ones. Was that Jake Plummer, I think? Oh no, that's Champ Bailey.
Oh, Champ Bailey, yep.
Yeah, and T.O. with the Eagles, Donovan McNabb, Eagles, Peyton Manning with the Colts, Randy Moss with the Raiders, Warren Sapp Raiders, Jake Plummer, Shockey, and then my hockey jerseys. I actually just sold one. It was an all-star jersey, but this is Atlanta Thrashers, even though the team is no longer in the NHL. And this is one of my favorites. It's a Florida Panthers jersey, but it's signed by a lot of the guys on the team. I don't know if you can see the pictures at all.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, but that's it as far as jerseys. This is this is one of my favorites too. The Crenshaw.
Oh, that's cool.
LeBron. Yeah. So yeah, that is my my little collection.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love how like jerseys aren't just like a piece of clothing, or it's memories and it's moments.
Of course.
So
this is the latest one I got. Finally got a Dodgers jersey with my name on it.
Yay, the world's catch. Well, anything else that you wanted to share or make sure?
If you're watching, follow me on Instagram, social media. All my social medias are Ryan Nelson 23. My online platform, after you get done looking at V Sports, is RyanNelsonHQ.com. That's where you can find all of my interviews, all of my little day-by-day things that I do. And I just thank you so much for having me on your show. I appreciate it. And you are, like I told you, I talked to Reconcile. and a few other people are like, yeah, man, you definitely got to get to know her. So I'm honored to do this.
Oh, no, thank you. Yeah, shout out Reconcile. If you don't know, the dope South Florida rapper just doing authentic music and bringing so thank you so much for being a part of this. And yeah, everybody be sure to follow V Sports with 3 eyes. And we'll just keep it going.
Yeah.